What's up, Magic players? It's Doyle, your host here on DoylePrimeMTG, where I bring you the latest and greatest in Magic content that I can, while still trying to have a life. This week, I bring you the second in a series of 3 commander decks that I build in hopes that my fiancée finds her home and her first commander deck. Last week, we saw Cheap to Cast. This week, we see Life Gain.
Forests, islands, mountains, plains, and swamps. The multiverse is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. There is a tingling in the spine, a faint sensation, as if a distant memory, of walking from plane to plane. Our lives have been forever changed, as if by magic. Embark with me on this journey to eternity. Experience the true power of mind over matter as we ignite your spark and traverse into the magic multiverse.
Lathiel the Bounteous costs 2 green-white for a legendary 2/2 unicorn with lifelink, and at the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, distribute up to that many +1/+1 counters among any number of other target creatures. This means that our creatures will be constantly increasing in size. A part of this commander that I think people overlook is the at the beginning of each end step part. This means that instant speed matters, and gaining life on our opponent's turns matters. Each end step, our creatures will be getting bigger and bigger, and once we give them trample, we'll be able to smash down all of our opponents. First of all, we need a reliable way to ramp up into our main game plan. Farseek, Rampant Growth, and 3 Visits will each find a land from our library and place it into play tapped. Cultivate and Kodama's Reach will do the same, but also will replace themselves with a basic land into our hand. We will also include Soul Ring and Arcane Signet for a bit of diversity in our ramp package. Crowsand Verge, Blighted Woodland, and Myriad Landscape will each let a land take a ramp slot, sacrificing themselves to get us 2 lands in their place. Gyre Sage and Accomplished Alchemist can gain us quite a bit of mana generation, right in line with our theme. Also, Cryptic Trilobite and Crystalline Crawler can use the counter generation as direct mana source, removing counters from themselves to generate either 2 colorless mana or 1 mana of any color, respectively. Fertilid can help us in a similar way, removing counters from itself to instead search our library for basic land and put it into play tapped. Finally, Ezeroot Channeler and Hamza Guardian of Erishan will each grant us a large discount when casting creature spells, based on life gain and +1/+1 counters, respectively. Next up, we need to draw extra cards to use all of this mana on. Cosmos Elixir and the Well of Lost Dreams are each artifacts that will assist us in drawing cards, while keeping with our life gain theme. Cosmos Elixir will grant us 1 card per turn, and Well of Lost Dreams will let us pay any amount of mana to draw that many cards each time we gain life, limited only by the amount of life that we gain and our mana that's available. Dawn of Hope and Harmonize are a couple good sources of card draw for us, as they are rather reliable and also affordable sources of card draw. We can also get larger bursts of card draw through Shamanic Revelation and Camaraderie. Each will draw us cards equal to the amount of creatures that we control, and the Revelation can also gain us quite a bit of life. Inspiring Call will even do a similar thing, so long as those creatures have +1/+1 counters already on them. Mindless Automaton and Armorcraft Judge will each allow us to turn our +1/+1 counters into card draw. The Automaton trading 2 of its +1/+1 counters for a card, and the Judge can draw us a card for each creature that we control with a +1/+1 counter on it when the Judge enters the battlefield. These will launch us into the lead, while Lathiel continues to generate counters. And lastly, we have the Great Henge. This has easily become a staple in many budgetless metas, but here it just hits all of the right notes. It gains us life, puts +1/+1 counters on our creatures, draws us cards, and provides us with extra mana. It's kind of a one-stop shop for winning the game in green. Not to mention, it can cost a lot less once our commander gets going. Controlling the play space is our next category, as we will need to protect our strategy as well as fend off our opponent's plans. We will begin with two very popular white spells, Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares. Each of these will exile a target creature and then give the controlling player something small in return. Beast Within and Generous Gift will each allow us a bit more broad in our removal, exiling any permanent and replacing it with a 3/3 beast token. Heliod's Intervention and Fracturing Gust will each allow us to deal with a large amount of artifacts and/or enchantments, while also fitting into the life gain theme. Heroic Intervention will also allow us to protect our battlefield by giving our permanents hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Scavenging Ooze will allow us to spot remove our opponent's Grave Lane cards to prevent them from using them over and over again. Shalai Voice of Plenty will help to protect our board and ourselves from being targeted by spells. We also have a suite of creatures that give keyword abilities to the creatures that we control that have +1/+1 counters on them. Both Pride Malkin and Tuskguard Captain can each give these creatures trample. Abzan Falconer can give flying, and Abzan Battlepriest can give them lifelink. We will also include plenty of value building cards in this section. Authority of the Consuls, Essence Warden, Soul Warden, and Soul's Attendant can each gain us a life whenever a creature enters the battlefield. Daxos Blessed by the Sun and Suture Priest can also gain us loads of life when our creatures enter the battlefield, with some added extra flexibility. Conclave Mentor can add to the amount of counters that we end up distributing, while Angel of Vitality can similarly add to the amount of life that we gain. Tristani, Selesnia's Voice, will gain us life each time a creature enters the battlefield, equal to that creature's toughness. She can also help us produce extra tokens if we have them. Finally, we're making our closing statements. Turning life gain into a win is challenging, but ultimately a straightforward endgame. Ajani's Pridemate and Sunscourge Regent will each get big and beefy as the game progresses. Champion of Lambholt will make all of our creatures unblockable if we give it enough counters. Rock's Faithmender will double all of our life gain. True Conviction will give all of our creatures double strike and lifelink. We have a couple of life gain bombs with Riot Control and Congregate. Each of these will give us life based on the amount of creatures in play at instant speed, letting us grow our board at instant speed just before our turn. We also have some permanents that generate tokens while we gain life. Trudge Garden will let us pay mana to generate a token on each instance of life gain. Angelic Accord will generate a token at the end of each turn if we gained 4 or more life during that turn. Speaker of the Heavens can tap to make angel creatures if we have 47 or more life. Resplendent Angel will generate an angel token at the end of each turn, so long as we gained 5 or more life during that turn. Crested Sunmare will generate us a 5/5 horse token at each end step, so long as we gained any amount of life that turn. It also gives those horses indestructible. Valkyrie Harbinger will also generate us an angel at each end step if we gain 4 or more life. Heliod's Sun Crown can give target creature a counter for each instance of life gain, and Archangel of Thune can do so for each of our creatures. Both of these creatures combo quite nicely with Spike Feeder. Each of these will go infinite with Spike Feeder, ensuring your opponents will have to make some alternate way of killing you instead of damage. We can close this section out with Blossoming Bogbeast and Felidar Sovereign. Each of these cards will help us win the game. Bogbeast will help us win through combat by giving our creatures a buff and giving them trample, while the Sovereign will let us win if we have 40 or more life at our upkeep. For lands, we will include Blossoming Sands and Grey Pelt Refuge, which will each gain us a life when they enter play. Command Tower, Branchloft Boulderloft Pathway, Canopy Vista, Selesnia Sanctuary, Sungrass Prairie, Sunpetal Grove, Temple Garden, and Temple of Plenty are all for color fixing, leaving us room for 10 forests and 11 plains. That about wraps it up for this deck tech. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll find the full link to the deck list on arcadeck.com in the description, complete with a maybe board. Let me know in the comments below if you would take this deck in a different direction, or if there are any key includes that I missed. Cheers, and happy casting! If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, and also share it with your friends. If you want to see more videos like these, or hear me ramble about how to navigate this magic multiverse,
Go ahead and click that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest from me, Doyle Prime, and the happenings throughout Magic the Gathering. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next video.